My best friend sent my boyfriend a pair of underwear, and I told my boyfriend to return it. He refused, saying, "Why are you being so petty? What could we possibly have?" I replied calmly. A true best friend wouldn't send underwear to my boyfriend. Later, when my friend had a flare-up of gastritis, my boyfriend rushed to the girls' dorm to take her to the hospital. He handed me her medication and carefully reminded me, "This one needs to be taken half an hour before meals, and this one is a powder to drink an hour after eating. Dora's stomach isn't good. You need to take good care of her and make sure she takes her medicine on time." He hesitated for a moment before adding, "Stomach issues are closely related to emotions. Don't let her get upset." I handed the medicine back to him and said, "You can take care of your girlfriend yourself." My friend sent my boyfriend a pair of underwear. When Daniel mentioned this, he had a smile in his eyes. It was as if this whole thing was completely fine. I frowned, instinctively feeling uncomfortable. "You should return it to her." Daniel incredulously questioned me. "Why are you being so petty? She's your best friend." I sensed his hidden resistance, and my heart sank. Daniel angrily accused me. "Do you have nothing better to do than overthink everything? Are you happy only when I cheat on you?" I calmly replied, "A true best friend wouldn't send underwear to my boyfriend." Daniel took a deep breath and patiently said, "If I'm telling you this, it means there's nothing going on between us." I suddenly laughed. From the moment he refused to return the underwear, he was already not clear with Dora. Daniel frowned deeply. He was quite handsome, and even his frown was pleasant to look at. I tended to be more forgiving towards good-looking people, so I asked again, "Aren't you going to return it?" Daniel fell silent, our gazes wrestling in the quiet. Seeming to reach his limit, bluntly asked, "Are we still celebrating this anniversary?" Daniel was a proud person, and so was I. I stuffed the flowers into his arms and said lightly, "Let's not." When I returned to the dorm, Dora heard the noise and quickly got up from her bed. There was no surprise on her face. Dora cautiously asked, "Ina, did you and Daniel have a fight?" I paused in the middle of taking off my shoes and looked at her coldly. How interesting. I hadn't even told her yet, and she already knew. Dora's expression gradually turned aggrieved. "I really didn't think you would care about this." "Never mind. It's my fault for not thinking before I sent it." It was clearly her who had done something disgusting. Yet I ended up looking petty and bullying her. Dora came over and tried to link her arm with mine, saying, "Don't let my sending things to him cause you to fight with Daniel. I won't send him anything anymore." I gently pushed her away, saying, "Is it just about sending things?" Dora looked up in surprise, and I looked directly into her eyes. No normal girl would send such intimate things to her friend's boyfriend. "Why did you send it?" Dora's gaze flickered slightly, and she got angry at my questioning. "It was just a small gift. What do you have to doubt this and that? I could never flirt with your boyfriend." I felt like I was hearing the biggest joke ever since high school. "Every guy who's been even slightly close to me, you've tried to get involved and flirt with. It's not just once or twice. Now you deny it." Dora awkwardly explained, "You're really misunderstanding me. With the guys who are close to you, I admit our relationship is a bit close, but I've never flirted with them. I just want to get along with your friends so we can all hang out together. I don't want you to be alone with anyone else. I'll get jealous. It's that simple." I fell silent. I was really tired of this friendship. "Whatever. Say what you want." Dora's eyes quickly turned red. Then she turned to leave. The door slammed with a loud bang. Just a few minutes after Dora left, my phone was bombarded with messages from Daniel. He sent over a dozen long voice messages, and I clicked on the shortest one. His angry voice echoed in the empty dorm. "If you have any complaints, take it out on me. Don't take it out on Dora. This is between us. It has nothing to do with her." My boyfriend had a protective urge towards my best friend that I had never seen directed at me. I smirked, forwarded Daniel's message to Dora, and asked her, "Are you satisfied now?" Dora took a long time to reply. "Until curfew." Dora came back with a bunch of snacks. She was beaming and sharing them everywhere, while the other two roommates curiously asked, Why did you suddenly buy so many snacks? Dora glanced at me intentionally and with a smug look on her face, her voice slightly rising, said, "A friend bought them for me." I drew the curtain and cut off her provocation. The other two roommates took a little out of politeness and then went back to their own business, ignoring her. The dorm fell silent. And feeling bored, Dora got into bed. I took out my phone and blocked both Dora and Daniel, forcing myself to focus entirely on studying. Unreliable people don't have time to study. I saw Daniel standing outside the girls' dorm. He stood tall at the entrance, attracting the attention of passing girls. I was about to ignore him and walk past when he suddenly called out to me, "Dinah." I stopped in my tracks, and the other two roommates exchanged glances and found excuses to leave first. Seeing me with my roommate, Daniel's eyes flashed with displeasure but was quickly suppressed. I scoffed. "What do you want? Did I bully Dora again? Are you here to settle scores for her?" Daniel looked helpless. "I'm not her boyfriend. Why would I settle scores for her?" I shot him a glance. Surprise. "Oh, so you know you're not her boyfriend." Daniel awkwardly rubbed his nose. "Don't be mad. I'm nice to her because of you." I maintained a cold expression as he came over, putting his arm around my shoulder and whispering in my ear, "I've already returned the underwear. From now on, when we go on date, I won't bring her along." How's that sound? His attitude about admitting his mistake was good, but thinking about his protectiveness over Dora still left a bitter taste in my throat. Here. Daniel handed me a beautifully wrapped gift box. I opened it to find a hairpin made by my favorite artisan. This artisan took a long time to create each piece and often cancelled orders, so Daniel must have really put in the effort to get it. The vividly crafted flower hairpin laid delicately in the gift box, and my heart softened a little. I huffed lightly. "Let's see how you perform." Daniel strongly insisted on being removed from my blacklist. Other boyfriends can send messages to their girlfriend, "Let me out," or "If I buy you breakfast, I'll have to stand downstairs and shout." I imagined that scene and inexplicably laughed. Back in the dorm, my other two roommates teased me. "Did you make up with your boyfriend? What did he get you?" I took out the flower hairpin, and both roommate eyes lit up, enamored with it. "This is really pretty. Your boyfriend is so sweet. Don't you have a lot of hanfu? You can wear it with the hanfu and have your boyfriend take pictures of you." Just as I smiled and was about to speak, Dora lifted the curtain and got out of bed. "Daniel can't take good pictures of her." The dorm fell silent, and even the other two roommates felt Dora's provocation. I recalled when we had gone out together, Daniel had eagerly surrounded Dora, patiently taking many beautiful pictures of her, but when it was my turn, he glanced at me impatiently. "No matter how you pose, you won't look good. Why should I bother taking pictures of you?" At that time, love and friendship were both strong, and I really wasn't as beautiful as Dora, so I didn't think much of it. Now I understood that Daniel didn't love me, so I would never look good in his eyes. Dora sat down at the desk and slowly pulled out an identical flower hairpin from her drawer. My gaze locked onto the hairpin as she inserted it into her hair. Our eyes met in the mirror, and she said, "It's not that pretty. I have one too." I clenched the gift box tightly, nearly unable to contain my anger. "Did my boyfriend give that to you?" Dora fell silent for a long time before saying, "I didn't want to hurt your feelings." I felt a wave of nausea wash over me, as if I'd just eaten a fly. I called Daniel down to the dorm. He walked over with his tall posture and, seeing me smiling, asked, "What's up? Missing me so soon?" I silently handed the gift box back to him. Daniel frowned, his expression impatient. "What's wrong with you again?" I looked calmly at him and said, "You bought an identical hairpin for Dora, right? Is that supposed to be funny?" It was clearly something I liked. Yet he still wanted to buy one for Dora too. Daniel's expression changed, and after a moment of silence, he quietly explained, "I ordered this 3 months ago. How was I to know you'd start disliking her now? As for why I got her the same one, it's because girls like to have matching things with their friends, so I ordered one for her too." "Baby, don't be mad." Daniel shoved the gift box back at me, and I threw it back into his arms. "You're still trying to argue. The things Dora and I like have never been the same. You treat us like you're two wives. Whatever I have, she has to have a copy. Right? A hint of guilt flashed in Daniel's eyes, and he angrily retorted. Giving your friend the same thing as you doesn't mean I'm cheating, does it? I was so furious my chest heaved with rage. So now I'm just being unreasonable? You too. One using the guise of friendship to get close to my boyfriend. The other pretending to look out for me while lying my boyfriend. You both disgust me. Daniel's gaze turned cold. Your best friend is already your friend. I should be jealous if I talk to other girls. Now I can't even talk to your best friend, can I? Because of you. I have to live in a man's world, and normal socializing with girls is a taboo. I stared at Daniel as he argued fiercely and suddenly recalled a small incident. Last month, when we all went out to eat, I walked in the middle and bent down to tie my shoelace. When I looked up again, my boyfriend and my best friend were already walking side by side, laughing and chatting, having completely left me behind without waiting or looking back. That day, I turned around and went back to the dorm. The maid didn't even call me. When Dora returned that day, I looked at Daniel's handsome face and felt exhausted. I know what normal socializing is like. You both know in your hearts whether you've crossed the line. Daniel looked just as worn out. Why do you have to make such a fuss? Isn't it fine if the three of us are just like before? I heard my voice say. No, it's not. After a huge fight with Daniel, we were already on the edge of breaking up. During the half-month of Cold War, Daniel openly cared for Dora. Every morning, he would buy breakfast for her and order fruit tea. No matter what he bought, he would get me a matching portion. Dora walked up to me, casually dropping a breakfast order on my desk. This is for you. I immediately threw the breakfast into the trash can. Daniel knew I didn't like it, yet he still adored bring it to me. I felt like he was forcing me to accept this relationship. Dora glanced at me, then lowered her head to send a voice message. You've been overly nice to the wrong person. She just threw it in the trash again, before I could respond. My roommate Doreen couldn't help but speak up. You should cut it out. You're openly stealing someone's boyfriend and still showing off here. Dora froze for a moment and retorted with teary eyes. Who's stealing her boyfriend? Doreen snorted coldly, too disdainful to argue with her. I shot her a cold glare and didn't speak up for her. Feeling aggrieved, Dora turned and left the dorm. It wasn't until the counselor came to talk to us that we found out Dora had gone to report us. The counselor looked furious. How come you female college students have so much drama? Can't you get along with Dora? Doreen calmly and logically replied. Our daily routine revolves around classes, the library, and the dorm. Dora just has a different pace of life. We didn't isolate her. She's just too sensitive. In the end, the conversation ended inconclusively. When we returned to the dorm from the counselor's office, I heard Dora laughing while watching a variety show. As soon as I opened the door, it fell silent. I had just opened a book and read for a while when my phone on the table began ringing incessantly. When I answered, Daniel's anxious voice came through. Dora has a stomachache. Please get her a glass of hot water and then go buy some stomach medicine at the campus hospital. I'm outside and will rush back soon. How ridiculous. After not being in contact for half a month, the first call from my boyfriend was asking me to take care of Dora. I smirked sarcastically. Are you dreaming? And hung up angrily. Dora peeked out from behind the bed curtain, her face pale, forcing a smile as she said, How did his call get to you? She cautiously assessed my expression. Don't mind it. He's just worried. You don't need to buy me med. I'll call him back. You don't need to bother. Dora's tone was as if she and Daniel were the real couple, feeling slightly apologetic for bothering me. The outsider, I smirked sarcastically, not wanting to entertain her pretensions. Whoever's ancestor it is should take care of them. I never planned on buying you any medicine. Dora's eyes turned red, and she silently lowered the bed curtain. I couldn't tell what she was doing, only hearing her nails tapping fiercely on the phone screen. In less than 3 minutes, Daniel's questioning call came, his tone exceptionally intense. Like an enraged lion, I told you, or has his stomachache. What's wrong with just asking you to pour her a glass of hot water? Are you crippled or dead? You can't even do this little thing. Dora is your best friend. And you won't even help her. I can't believe you're this kind of person who wouldn't help someone in distress. I replied directly. Yeah, I'd rather die than get her a glass of water. I'm not her babysitter. How is she crippled? Why do you think you can order me around to get her a glass of water? Daniel was at a loss for words after my outburst. I decisively hung up and turned off my phone. Dora lay on her bed, as quiet as if she were dead. Half an hour later, a commotion came from downstairs, with faint male voices. At first, I didn't think much of it, but the noise grew closer. My roommate and I exchanged anxious glances. Daniel was outside, shouting at someone. I told you it's urgent. Open the door, Dinah. Open the door for me. Bang, bang, bang. The dorm door was being angrily banged on. I pressed down on Doreen and went to open the door. Daniel pushed past me and barged in. He went straight to Dora's bedside and gently lifted the bed curtain, asking, "Does it hurt a lot?" He didn't even glance at me, who was now on the floor. Dorm supervisor chased after him, yelling, "Boys aren't allowed in here." Dora, who had been laughing while watching the variety show, now weakly held her stomach as if she couldn't even speak due to the pain. Seeing that, Daniel stretched out his long arms and Princess carried her away. He turned to the angry supervisor and shouted, "She's in so much pain she might have a perforated stomach. There's no one else in the dorm to take care of her. If I don't come and something happens, can you take responsibility?" The supervisor clearly couldn't take that responsibility and could only say, "Then hurry up and take her to the hospital. You're not allowed to come back up here." Daniel didn't say anything further and rushed out with Dora in his arms. It was truly a scene straight out of a romantic drama if the main couple were my boyfriend and my best friend. All the roommates' eyes were on me, and anyone with eyes could see how much Daniel cared for Dora. Doreen came over to help me up. "Are you okay?" My tears flowed uncontrollably as I struggled to suppress my sobs and said calmly, "I'm fine." After a while, Daniel bombarded me with long messages, continuously blaming me for not taking care of Dora. "You wouldn't even help your best friend in distress. How can you call yourself a person? You're so selfish it scares me. I can't imagine how you would treat me if I were sick." Dora also sent a message, flustered, trying to defend Daniel. "Dinah, he's just angry at the moment. Don't take his words too serious. When he calms down, I'll make him apologize to you." These two made me feel disgusted. That evening, after Dora returned from the hospital, Daniel brought her right to the dorm entrance, his face cold, shoving Dora's medicine into my arm. "I'm giving you one last chance to take good care of Dora." I was taken aback as he meticulously instructed me. "This one should be taken half an hour before meals, and this one is a powder to be taken an hour after meals. Dora has stomach issues. You need to take good care of her and make sure she takes her medicine on time." He hesitated for a moment before adding, "Stomach problems are closely related to emotions. Don't let her get angry." I returned the medicine to him, saying, "You should take care of your own girlfriend." Daniel instantly blew up. "What do you mean?" He pressed me with a burning anger. "Are you determined to label us? If we were going to be together?" Dora pretended to be a peacemaker, looking at me with timid eye. "Dinah, don't be angry. Daniel doesn't want you to misunderstand. We are fine." Her awkward pause made Daniel feel heartbroken. "Why are you explaining so much to her? Has she bullied you less?" I was nearly amused to the point of laughter by this pair of dogs. "Stop acting like you're in a drama with me. Isn't it disgusting?" Tears welled up in Dora's eyes as she told Daniel, "I won't get involved anymore. Don't argue with her. Let's go downstairs and talk nicely." Daniel took a deep breath and suggested we chat. I wanted nothing more than to shake off this pair of scoundrels, but I agreed to go downstairs with him. We went to a CAF next to the school. While Daniel went to get milk tea, his phone on the table vibrated incessantly. I felt a stir of curiosity and opened it to see. Dora had sent Daniel a lot of messages. "Where did you to go? Is she with you? When she's not around, text me back. You have to make a choice." I took a photo of the screen and put the phone back before Daniel returned. Daniel came back with 2 cups of milk tea and handed me one. I inserted the straw into the cup and slowly tore open the seal. Daniel didn't notice anything strained. His attitude was much gentler without Dora around. Are you done throwing a fit? There's really nothing between me and Dora. If you feel uncomfortable, I'll definitely try to keep my distance from her in the future. The only reason I got close to her was that she's your best friend. I scoffed sarcastically and then splashed the milk tea right in Daniel's face. Daniel jumped up from his seat, cursing at me as he wiped his face, completely flustered. I coldly laughed. The sick ones are you to crazy fools. But still pretending to have deep feelings for each other in front of me. Isn't it disgusting? A hint of guilt flashed in Daniel's eyes as he opened his mouth to argue. I interrupted him directly. Why don't you check your phone? Daniel picked up his phone and glanced at it. Shifting the blame back to me, I never thought you were the type to snoop on someone's phone. I laughed coldly and stood up. Let's break up. I have nothing more to say to you. Daniel fell silent for a moment and said, if you hadn't looked at my phone, I wouldn't be breaking up with you, believe it or not. I was just comforting her. The one I truly love is you. I couldn't help but call him out. Do you remember the day we went to the science museum and got caught in a downpour? Daniel looked a bit dazed. He didn't remember, but I did. I calmly recounted. You happened to have a raincoat in your bag, and you gave it to Dora. It had rained heavily that day, and the streets were filled with people panicking to find shelter. When Daniel took out the raincoat, I instinctively thought it was for me and reached out to take it. But he bypassed me and directly draped the raincoat over Dora. I awkwardly curled my fingers. Dora blushed and teasingly reminded him. You should give it to Dinah. Daniel looked as if he had just woken from a dream, leaving me feeling embarrassed. Daniel frowned. You remember such a trivial thing after all this time? I looked at him calmly. You can't help but care for and look after them. That's enough. I wish you both a perfect match. May you last forever. Just don't come to disgust me anymore. My roommates looked at me with concern. I pulled open Dora's bed curtain. She was looking at her phone, her smile still lingering on her face. I said, pay me back. Dora was taken aback and lowered her head to transfer the money. I've paid you back in full. I looked down and nearly laughed out of anger. I lent you 10,000, and you only returned me 100. Dora revealed that bullied expression again. Looking at me with pity, just take this 100 for now. I'll pay you the rest when I have the money. This 10,000 was what she borrowed when she needed to pay tuition. It was initially meant to be a one-day loan, but she always had an excuse to delay repayment. I frowned. You either pay me back now, or I'll post everything you've done on the campus forum. You can figure it out, Dora said softly. I understand. I thought she would pay me back, but half an hour later, Daniel called me. His voice was laced with anger. Our breakup has nothing to do with Dora. Do you really need to bully her like this? I mocked him. Is asking her to pay back money bullying her? Being the naive one for you to scoundrels? Daniel shouted angrily. Which college student can take out 10,000 all at once? Are you trying to push her to her death? I replied coldly. When she borrowed money from me, I didn't have it either. I borrowed it from someone else to give to her. Daniel fell silent, then softened his tone, saying, and I'll pay her back for her. I'll transfer the money to you, so you don't have to ask her for it anymore. I immediately refused. I don't want this unclear money. I'll ask whoever I lent it to. Daniel got angry again. Why can't you be reasonable? I coldly replied. That should be paid back. That's only right. Daniel was left speechless after my recording hung up the phone first. All I could hear was the cold beep sound in my ear. A few minutes later, Dora transferred me 10,000. She wrote 5 years of friendship. I didn't expect we would come to this. I immediately accepted the payment. A man can be stolen away, but money absolutely cannot. After accepting the money, I texted her back. 5 years of friendship don't stop you from being a mistress. Dora switched arms, as if they were in a romantic relationship. I had been with Daniel for 2 years, and all the classmates knew we were a couple. Now, with Dora by Daniel's side, everyone could guess what had happened. Many contemptuous gazes gathered on Dora. This was something she deserved. However, Daniel came to settle scores with me. He transferred me once and on Alipay with a note. You don't have to slander Dora everywhere. The fact that we've ended up here today is all because of you. If it weren't for your strictness, I wouldn't feel oppressed and wouldn't have been attracted to Dora. To be honest, Dora is 100 times better than you. I feel comfortable and at ease with her. She's the girl I want to protect for a lifetime. So you better not mess with her. Daniel betrayed our relationship yet dumped all the blame on me. A surge of anger rushed to my head. I removed Daniel from my blacklist and called him. Which mental hospital's wall fell down and let this idiot out? You don't do anything when it comes to being with someone. I'm not a straw boat. If you're shameless, don't come to me. Your brain isn't even the size of a peanut, and you think you can talk to me? Get lost. I vented my anger without waiting for Daniel to respond before hanging up the phone. My roommates were dumbfounded. Then applauded. Not bad. Not bad. I smiled sheepishly. Another roommate hesitated to remind me. Ina, you should quickly check the campus forum. Dora had posted something on the campus forum, claiming I had cheated long ago, which was why Daniel dumped me, and that she was not the mistress. Dora also posted a photo of me hugging a handsome young man. Many classmates commented below, cursing me, and my fingers trembled with anger. After trying to call Daniel several times, he finally answered. I angrily questioned, did you see the post Dora made? He was silent on the other end of the line. I continued to scold him. Are you two not disgusting? Behind my back, you're together, doing shameless things, and still have the nerve to splash mud on me? Daniel replied softly. Dora is upset. You won't lose a piece of flesh from being scolded a couple of times. I won't let it go. If she doesn't delete the post and apologize within 3 minutes, don't blame me for being rude. The post's popularity kept rising, eventually ending with a big red explosive word. Dora was calm and showed no intention of deleting the post or apologizing. Doreen looked at the post angrily. This Dora is really shameless. Do you know why we didn't like her before? She kept seeking help from your boyfriend behind her back, and every time she asked him to help deliver something, she would deliberately put on makeup and wear a super short skirt. Another roommate looked at me sympathetically. Right? Because you two were so close. I gripped my phone tightly. I couldn't swallow this humiliation. There were all sorts of insults in the post, with filthy language. They called me a promiscuous slut and said I deserved to be dumped by men. That even beggars wouldn't look at someone like me. I directly replied with my real name. Hello everyone. I am Dinah, the cheater mentioned by Dora in the post. To clarify, I am not the one who cheated. The guy in the photo is my cousin. And I have proof. Daniel and I officially broke up on May 10. And I'm not aware of when he got together with Dora. I laid out the facts from start to finish and attached screenshots of my chat with Dora. Dora had said, I've liked him for a long time. If it weren't for you, I would have confessed long ago. You've occupied the guy I like for too long. I even included a photo taken on the night we broke up at a C8F. In the photo, there were messages from Dora to Daniel. Where did you guys go? Is she with you? When she's not around, text me back. You're not allowed to hold her hand or sit together. People in the post exploded. They didn't expect Dora to be so shameless. Classmate A said, I can't believe my eyes. That's clearly Dinah's boyfriend. My goodness. So shameless. Classmate B said, didn't you see she's forbidding her boyfriend from holding Dinah's hand? It's laughable. So you have to guard against your friends too. The comments instantly turned, and everyone began to attack Daniel and Dora. In less than 30 seconds, Daniel and Dora bombarded my phone with calls. A few minutes earlier, Daniel had been nonchalantly saying, getting scolded online won't cost you anything. Now that the tables had turned, they couldn't sit still anymore. I turned my phone off and went to the cafeteria with my roommate. To my surprise, I ran into Dora and her new roommate at the cafeteria. Dora rushed over, her face streaked with tears, questioning me. Why did you post those photos? Dora put on the same victim act. I scoffed. You were the one who slandered me first, right? What's this? You can splash dirt on me, but I can't fight back? Or is it that I can be scolded but you can't? Dora's new roommate weakly defended her. Don't be like that. Feelings can't be easily explained. I turned to her and said, you'd better be careful. This person has plenty of tricks. There was a time when my ex-boyfriend and I were supposed to buy materials for a level 6 exam together, and she insisted on going with us. But she secretly changed the time without telling me and went with my boyfriend to buy the materials instead. The new roommate's eyes flickered, and Dora, afraid I'd say more, quickly took her away. Doreen watched the two walk away and clicked her tongue. How could she be so foolish? I guess that rich second-generation boyfriend of hers will be stolen away too. I agreed with her speculation. Dora was possessive over other people's boyfriends. She needed to steal others' boyfriends to prove her own female charm, thus gaining psychological satisfaction. My phone chimed, and I picked it up to see she might not be stupid. Doreen looked at me, puzzled. I showed her the page on my phone. Dora's new roommate had added me. Dora was going crazy from the insults. She knew I wouldn't delete the evidence and used a fake account to add me, constantly sending me things to deliberately disgust me. Do you think Daniel loves you that much? He wanted to break up with you long ago. And I even advised him not to. He's just playing with you. I'm the one he truly loves. Do you know that he would buy standing tickets on New Year's Eve, even if he couldn't get a seat on the high-speed train, just to come back to my hometown to watch fireworks with me? Compared to me, you're nothing in his eyes. The person who is unloved among the three of us is the third party. You've been stuck between me and Daniel for a long time. Dora disgusted me, so I decided to disgust her back. I called her, and she answered. On the other end, I could hear her angry, heavy breathing. I asked straightforwardly, do you guys kiss? Dora thought I was jealous and smugly retorted, what do you think? When do you think we kissed for the first time? I didn't care about when they got together. I smiled and said, do you remember when Daniel and I went to Disney and stayed outside? Dora fell silent, and I could feel her silent jealousy. I continued, that night, Daniel, to prove his loyalty to me, licked my feet even though I had a bit of athlete's foot. Dora always knew that. So when you kiss him, it's like indirectly licking my feet. On the other end, I heard Dora's scream of humiliation, and I couldn't help but burst into laughter. I listened as she etched from disgust and said, you picked up a second-hand man no one wanted, so you should know what this outcome will be. After being disgusted for so long, I finally felt relieved. A few days later, I heard that Dora and Daniel, this dog couple, were having a breakup. Daniel was breaking down, shouting at Dora downstairs in the dormitory. I broke up with Dinah for you and even paid off your debt of 10 Zaryuan. How could you want to break up? Dora weakly hid in the arms of her rich second-generation roommate, Daphne, with tears in her eyes. She pleaded, I'll pay you back. Don't do this. Her rich boyfriend was heartbroken and immediately helped Dora repay Daniel the 10 Zaryuan. He said, I've transferred the money to you. From now on, Dora is clear with you. Don't bother her again. Daniel snapped, what the hell do you mean? She's my girlfriend. Dora covered her face with her hand, crying in the arms of the rich guy, pretending to be too scared to argue. The rich guy's friends held Daniel back, and no matter how much he cursed, he couldn't break free. The rich guy cast a disdainful glance at him. In front of Daniel, Dora walked away with the rich guy. I had just heard this gossip when Daphne sent me a location and room number. I'm a helpful girl, so I immediately removed Daniel from my blacklist and sent in the location and room number. I didn't say anything, but I believed Daniel would definitely go. Later, Daphne and her crew cornered Daniel and Dora in the hotel. I heard that Dora didn't even have time to get dressed and was dragged out of bed by Daphne by her hair. Daniel also jumped in, throwing punches at the rich guy. And the scene was chaotic and messy. A video surfaced online showing Dora being slapped by Daphne while she was bare, and it went viral on the campus forum. Every group in school was discussing this huge event. Even I was disturbed. Many people I knew and didn't know sent me messages trying to dig for details. I'd ignored them all, glanced at my phone a few times, then turned it off to focus on studying. It wasn't until a few days later that I found out Daniel was arrested. Doreen said in surprise. You didn't know? Daniel stabbed Daphne's boyfriend. He's definitely going to be sentenced. I was a bit shocked. I didn't expect Daniel's comeuppance to come so quickly. Dora wasn't doing any better. Because of the video's spread, she was too embarrassed to come to school and directly applied for leave of absence. Both the scumbag man and woman had ruined their lives. I exhaled in relief. My world was finally clean. The sun was shining brightly outside, and I smiled at my roommate. Do you want to go get ice cream later? Doreen hesitated, saying, I might gain weight. Maybe just 2. I'd once misjudged people and loved the wrong person. My life had reopened once again.